Hello everybody. I wanted to shoot a quick video about some of the training that I've gone over lately and pretty much where I'm sitting with stuff and overall the premise of where I've been, over the last week or so and some of the difficulties that I ran into and how I overcome them and stuff like that. So, um, this will be more of a listen to me babble for a little bit. Hopefully this will, like all the other videos I've shot, be, you know, uh, if you're stuck, not sure where to go, like I was in the last month or so, as to where to study, hopefully, you watching this, you'll get pointed in the right direction. If you have any questions, want to tell me that my videos suck, or, anything, want to say, hey, how you doing? I like what you're doing, that type of stuff. rriker82 at yahoo.com. You can shoot me an email. I'm always looking for feedback. If you have any to give, I'll take it, good or bad, positive or negative. Um, I typically on Facebook, if you follow me on there, Rob Riker, um, I typically, you know, don't like negative feedback. Um, but when uh, um, if it's negative feedback, that's what I consider constructive criticism. Hey, your videos are good, but you do too much of this, or I don't like the way um, I don't like your recording style. The way you present your material. I'm not going to be the favorite of everybody, and I understand that, but my goal is to take what my experiences and the way that I've seen material presented and present that back to you in a uh, in the best way I can. I'm not a professional trainer. I don't get paid for any of this stuff, so for me, it's more of a learning how to deliver the material is the point of all this. So what you see on the screen is kind of why I'm here, and no, I'm not a CCIE. No, I'm not a CCNA. Do you have to listen to what I say? Absolutely not. Um, you're more than welcome to start the video now, which I hope you don't. But you know, freedom is your gift. So do whatever you want. But basically, what I do here is I went through the CCIE written exam, um, the over the overview. Basically, what it does is it covers all the major topics that you'll run into. So, for instance, you'll see I got switching up here, then I've got spanning tree, and the different modes of spanning tree, and then it gets into routing. And actually, what I've done is give you 1 second to open up my go to my storage array here, and I'll pull it up. What I did was I went in and um, I took this right here, and I'll narrow that down just a bit for you. As I went into each video, and um, that's not what I wanted to do. I'm actually in the middle of a backup right now, so my computer's running kind of slow. I went through each thing, as you can see, like here, and I got switching, and then I got some routing down here. But IPv4 routing, and then it gets into IPv6 and how it works and stuff like that. What I did was I went through all these and wrote down information. Then take the slide, write down the slide, and then fill in the information in the subtopics as he was talking. And this is all Internet Network Expert. Great training tool. I highly recommend it to anybody that's looking to become a CCIE. And then what I did is I had the Advanced Technologies course that I downloaded from their website, and I have it saved. So I'm going through RIP right now, and I'm in this little section right here. So policy routing, GRE tunneling, that type of stuff. So what I'm doing is I'm going through is I'll as you can see right here, I have static routing and some of the things you can do with static routing, and then on-demand routing with ODR and backup interfaces and how you would do that. And enhanced object tracking using IPSLA and ping tests and using stuff like that to make sure that um, your layer 3 protocol, your line protocol, is up, because you might have a cape alive on there that says it's up, but it's really down. So it's just to make sure that the link that you're going to send data across is actually up and running when you're not sure if it is, and kind of how the SNMP traps will work when you do trackers and stuff like that. So um, I work in network operations, so I've gotten very familiar with how this stuff works. And as a matter of fact, when all I do in my day-to-day job is I sit in a cubicle. Um, I have a what is that, a HP laptop that's running two. I have a dual monitor setup. I have like 45 inches of screen space. Then I look and I have one screen to set up as my monitoring tool. My other screen to my left uh, is my ticketing system. And so what I do is I see an alarm come up, I investigate it. I say, okay, I'm working this alarm, so other people can see that. They say, okay, Rob's working this. So I go over to my ticketing system, I pull it up, I start looking at it, and I pull out the institution name for the bank, and then I go from there, and I'm able to look at their IP address because we offer internet services to our clients. So I'm able to look at their IP address, and if it's down, I can look at the uh, the circuit ID and go to AT&T's website and check the alarm, see if it's actually down. Is it down, or did the client lose power? Did they power cycle it and I just can't receive SNMP traps? That type of stuff. So there's a workflow to it, and that's actually how you would do it in real life. When I'm consulting, I'll get a call from a client and they say, "Hey, we're not working. Do you have an idea what's going on?" And I'll ping their default gateway, their public IP, or I'll VPN in. If I can't, I'll try a VPN right away. If I can VPN into their location and then take over a workstation, typically I log into a remote access server, and then I'm able to take over from there, and usually a VNC to different workstations. So I don't do just networking; I do some Windows Server administration as well. So, but that's basically how I do it from day to day. But for my studies, this has been an issue lately with trying to get time to do it. It's my oldest son is back in school. He's in fourth grade, and then my youngest son, he's about to be 4 in a few months. So he's getting older, and the kids have got it's like, well, daddy's home from work, and then my wife, she's got her thing going on, and of course we have the normal family stuff that we deal with, being married and having 2 kids, and then my wife and her extended and her side of the family, and all the stuff that goes on, and the family dynamics that come into play. So one thing that I found is I have a hard time getting in and getting the studying done. And so what I do is I try to get an hour. I used to shoot for 3 hours a night. I used to say from 7 to 10, it's my time. But that's a lot of time chewed up when you got little kids, and especially when your 10-year-old is looking for this, and your 3-year-old is looking for attention. So I've tailored it back to 2 hours. And I go from 8 to 10, and um, it was 9 to 11, but I was finding it was creeping into the midnight hour, and I had to get up at 6:30 to be at work by 8 because I have about a 45-minute drive to work. So I tailored it back for 2 hours, and I find that if I do it for 2 hours, I can get 2 videos a night done, and that's about an hour and a half worth of video, and that's with me going out to Cisco's website and pausing the video and actually being able to find the stuff and throwing in bookmarks and into Chrome and Firefox and stuff like that. And I have a very large document that I've started with configuration logs and stuff like that, so that I'm able to not only have the configuration handy, so if I'm in the command line and I don't remember what it is, I can do a control find and a notepad and go from there. But like you see, it's a very large document, and it keeps going and going and going. It goes all the way through. I have the QoS in here. Like I said, my computer's running kind of slow, so network services, some of the stuff that you're going to go over, there was really no reason for me to type this stuff in, because a lot of it I'm going to go over when I get into it. First hop redundancy protocols, and the network services, SNMP, uh, embedded event manager, stuff like that you'll run into. Security was a little more in depth, ACL and stuff like that. If you've done CCNA level or CCNP level security, you're going to know about VLAN access control, and then some of the other things that come into play, zone-based policy firewall. Some things I'm not as familiar with as others, like I didn't know really what I didn't know what DHCP snooping was until recently, and then you get like IP source guard and IP dynamic ARP inspection. I don't know what those are, so I'm very fluent in some things and not as others because the emphasis hasn't been there yet. So a lot of what you're going to run into, or at least what I've found when I've been going through my studies, is making sure that I have um, a basic level knowledge before I get into it. So what I'll do is I'll try to find it on YouTube, like multicast. This has been a huge. I mean, you can see just multicast in general. This series start. This is all multicast from here all the way down here. It stops right here, down to here. I mean, multicast is a huge section, and I had no idea, but I was really paying attention to it. And it's like I wanted to know all the little things about it, and it's been uh, kind of a pain in the butt with some things because it's like, holy crap, do I really need to know this much about um, uh, what there is to know about networking? Because there's a lot, and you really do. I mean, if you want to be successful in networking, you have to know a lot about a lot, and there's a lot of different tracks to it. So I've actually got, I'm gonna pull up my thing again here and do I do have a lot of stuff on my SAN. Um, where'd it go? INE. And then I have some data center stuff in here. Route and switch, security, service provider. I actually have the entire advanced technologies class here on this, but I haven't gotten into it yet because of the fact that, well, I'm not there yet. I want to get through with and I got CCI security, some of the CVT nuggets for the most part, but um, I didn't want to bring in. I mean, I could have stated under CVT nuggets, and I do have the firewall video in here, um, but I figured it was easier just to keep some things separated than and stuff like that. But a lot of what I'm doing right now is going through each video in the advanced technologies class, which I'll bring up my video player. And I was cleaning my office this today. I took a day and me and my wife kind of tackled the house. And it's usually about once a month we go through the house on a Saturday and for a few hours and just start cleaning. And it was bad. So I ended up ripping some carpet out of a room and rearranging it and moving some stuff down. And I got to the point I was like, I'm tired of looking at it, with as busy of a life as I lead. And not only that, I know you guys don't want to look at that, but not only do I deal with studying full time, well, what I consider full time studying, a few hours each night and a couple hours on the weekends. Um, School starts for me this Monday. It's the 13th, the 15th it kicks in. So I have 5 classes, which is more than full time. I think I have 15 credits this semester. So it's going to be a busy semester. But um, my one class is going to be CCNA 3 and 4, and it's going to be basic switching and basic WANs, which is going to be a piece of cake for me because I deal with that every day in my day-to-day job. I have 4 switches here at home, so I'll be able to take care of the switching no problem. And then there's going to be, excuse me, what do you call it? There's going to be what's in the cloud and how cloud computing works and stuff like that. Um, then there's some Active Directory and Microsoft Network Administration and things like that. But actually, I'm going to bring over a sticky note that I created, which is all the reading that I want to do. It's actually books that I have, MPLS Fundamentals. It's an actual book. Uh, this one are actual. They're all books, but some are bigger than others. MPLS fundamentals. The reason I want MPLS down is because I plan on using it in the route or the service provider track. Um, BGP is going to be a big one. QoS, multicast, TCP/IP 1 and 2. I like knowing the history on things and how they work. IPv6, um, stuff like that. But as you can see, Brian McGann, he's this instructor for the Advanced Technologies course, so you can go look him up, and he teaches a lot of different courses. But right now, it's just a matter of getting through the course and gaining the experience and the understanding. Because right now, it's just getting the fundamentals down. So he actually goes through command line configuration, and I watch the command line as he's going through it, and I'll throw. Um, I don't do any of the I don't want to call them stupid router tricks, but some of the things that he does is he'll turn things on, turn things off, and reload this and reload that just to make it work. But he's making it work for the configuration so that he can, he can take the theory and actually make it work on the command line, so you can actually see the debug outputs. But right now, I'm not worried about making sure I get all the little commands that he's doing. Um, I don't have the rack rental setup that he does, so a lot of what I'm doing it's setting up the configurations, the topologies, and stuff like that, so that when I go in and set them up and start configuring them, it's a full RIP, and then I can set RIP up, and I can do EIGRP, and then do OSPF, and then get BGP routing, and then do multi-protocol BGP, and then the MPLS, and then the quality of service and the multicast is when it kicks in and stuff like that. Make sure I get the frame relay stuff down, and basically anything that's in this right here. I'll slide this out just a bit. You gotta be I'll slide this over. Anything that's in here that's listed as something that you might have to deal with. It's all things that I want to be able to configure off the top of my head. So like floating static routes should be a piece of cake. All floating static routes are. It's a static route. It's the IP route. The network you want to get to. So the 192.168, 1.0, and then 255.255.255.0, and then I found out that if you type in the interface of the router you're on, it has to do a recursive lookup. It's got to find out what IP addresses of the next hop and the MAC address, which is what a recursive lookup is. It's got to find out what the IP address and what the MAC address is of the next hop. If you put in the next hop, it doesn't have to do a recursive lookup because it already knows through the ARP cache and what the MAC address is. So, it's a little tidbit of information for you. So, like doing a directed IP broadcast, and doing what is it, offset lists and authentication, stuff like that. So a lot of what I'm gonna keep yawning. It's getting late. It's 1 o'clock in the morning right now. A lot of what I'm going through is making sure that I can do every one of these things off the top of my head. So, no. I don't want to get to the lab or to the written exam and not know how to configure something off the top of my head. Because I know from talking to CCIEs that's what's going to happen. You're going to get there and it's going to be, you're going to see this, you're going to see that, you're going to see this. And going based on what I see on the blueprint, it's if they ask you a configuration example, you're going to have to know which configuration example is appropriate for that particular question. Because it might ask you, well, what's the how do you enable OSPF area 0? I mean, it's a CCNA level question, but router OSPF the process ID, and then how do you configure OSPF on just one interface in area 0, and then you configure on the same router on a different interface in area 1. Well, you need to specify which subnets you're going to be based on a wildcard, how you're going to do that. So things of that nature. So these are things that I want to know how to do off the top of my head. So that's why I'm kind of um, sharing this with you, so that you'll be able to go, oh, okay, well that makes sense. So um, a lot of what, like I said, a lot of what I'm doing is making sure that I have a fundamental understanding of what's a route reflector. Well, actually, I just found out what a route reflector was today. You know, it takes a route in on IBGP and it shares it with all of its internal neighbors, where it normally wouldn't do it. It's breaking the rule. I don't know what that rule is, but there's a rule that says that in IBGP, internal BGP, it won't share a route that it learns with other neighbors inside of its own autonomous system. Well, a route reflector allows it to do that. It's like uh, it won't share a an an inter AS number, so like a route coming from another autonomous system that it learns internally. It won't share that. Well, with a route reflector, it will. At least I think that's how it works. Like I said, I still have um, a lot of studying to go through, and actually, I was going through QoS this afternoon. I just let the video play. I was picking up just as background noise for me, and maybe subconsciously it'll start sinking in. Maybe I don't know, but anything to try to get me an edge to pass the test. But um, that's basically my training strategy. And like you see, I have all it's strictly on the computer. Is all I have is the INE stuff in my playlist. So that's what I've been doing lately. Um, Nothing major. Like I said, I've still been. This thing is gonna play, and I don't want it to. Is it gonna give me an issue? No, it's not going to, but because it's on my external, I'm gonna, oh, at least it thinned itself back. I'm gonna kill this side, kill that guy. The reason I don't want it to play is because I'm in the middle of a backup, and right now my computer's RAM is peaking at like 90%. So, I typically do a backup once a week on a Saturday night. So, my backup has been going for about an hour now. So, I don't know if it's a full backup, but I think it's a partial. Um, Let me take a peek real quick and see, because I'm not even sure if, yeah, my RAM is so pegged. Well, actually, it's slowed down. My RAM is it's my CPU utilization is high now, but uh, it's thinking a lot right now. Backup is in progress, which I already knew that, but this should give me a detail as to how much longer. Just waiting for it to load up real quick. It's taking its time. But like I said, I do a backup once a week. Okay, yeah, it's almost done. As a matter of fact, that gives you an idea of what's going on, because then you're able to go in and, like I said, I have an external, I have a Seagate external hard drive. It's a 2 terabyte, as you can see. And what I do is I set it up. You restore, do a backup, and you can specify what you want it to back up. And you can either do a full backup, and it'll back up anything inside of my computer. And what I mean by my computer is literally, if you click on Start and you go to my computer, it'll back up everything that's on the C drive. And so what I do is I thin out. Like I have some movies that I don't want backed up, and some stuff that I can always re-download through, iTunes, and some other things that I pay for, and I don't need to download or to have that stuff backed up if I can always re-download it. No point in tying up disk space for something I don't need. But like I said, it's a once a week deal, and typically I do incremental, which means it'll in Windows anyway. Windows 7's pretty good about it. I've never had a problem. I've only had to implement a backup once when it crashed about a year ago. And then I flipped over to Windows 7 Pro from Windows 7 Home. And then actually I can show you on my external where it saves it. Actually, it saves it right here. You've got my computer and then the Windows image backup. So that'll it creates the file on your computer, and it allows you to back up files. So you can't back up a single file, but you can back up an entire volume. So because this would be like this would be a single file, okay, or a volume would be my C drive. So you can do an entire backup, and it is shared. But anybody that's brave enough to watch a video and try to find out where my IP address is and try to hack into it, into my network, good luck. The firewall that I run and the type of access that I have set up here, unless you, not to say it's unhackable. I mean, nothing's unhackable with enough time, but just to give you an idea that anything you do break into, I have a backup, and I have my external hard drive that I have backed up, and then I have another drive that you don't see plugged in here that I can always back up. So even if you decorrupt my system completely, I still can bring it back. So not a challenge to anybody, but just saying I'm very proactive in my maintenance, because I've seen in consulting too many times where they're not proactive in their backup, and they end up getting screwed because they don't have a backup, and they call me and I'm like, well, what do you want me to do? Well, I can't fix it because there's nothing to recover. So like if you do have a situation where your hard drive goes bad and all of your files go missing, as long as you have the what do you call it? The registration key for Windows and a valid ISO of it. An ISO, if people call it, I call it an ISO, image system, image source, something. I forget. It's been a while since I've actually looked at it. As long as you have the ISO and a valid registry key, reloading Windows 7 is not a big deal. And then applying the registration key, or the activation key. It's actually really easy. So, but enough babbling for me. Like I said, CCIE studies are going well. I've been taking it a couple videos a night to try to get pull information out of it. It's not a race. Well, theoretically you could look at it as a race, but to me it's not a sprint. It's a marathon. So it's one chunk of the race at a time, and eventually I'll get through it. Like I said, I'm about 40 videos into a 155 video series. I'm taking it nice and slow. I'm actually going to be, with financial aid coming up, and taxes coming in, I'll buy INE's workbooks, and when I'm not working on classwork for my my degree, I'll be working on my CCIE. So, wish me luck. Everybody that's going for certification themselves and they're studying, good luck to you. Keep chugging at it. Don't let people knock you down or question you or be negative towards you. You don't need that. And if they are, be like, you know what? I have my interests. This is what I like. This is what I'm good at. This is what I like to do. Don't knock it. Just stay positive. If you need to, whenever I feel like I'm losing my direction, I don't know where to go. Start at the basics. If you don't know, if you look at the blueprint and if you don't know what everything is just by looking at it, you're not ready to move on. Fundamental understanding of everything that's in the blueprint you must have. So go through the CCNA and look at the CCNA topics. Make sure you know all the CCNA topics. Then look at the CCNP, the route, switch, and T-shoot sections. Make sure you know how to do all that. And that'll give you a level foundation. If you can implement policy routing off the top of your head, you're good. You know, I know in the route section right now in the CCP they don't talk about multicast, so I had to spend some time in multicast that I didn't know what it was. Same thing with QoS. I didn't know what quality of service really was. Um, Services, I knew what that was because that's your NAT and your HSRP and your ACLs and stuff like that, and things of that nature. So, but one last yawn in there for the day. But if you have any questions, like I said, rriker82 at yahoo.com. Shoot me an email, rriker@yahoo.com. Shoot me an email, and I probably won't be doing any training videos anytime soon. At least I don't think I'll be. But this will give me an opportunity to, more of a point you in the right direction if you need it. Fundamental understanding of everything, and then build on top of that. Build on top of that. Read a book if you need some clarification. Google something. Use Cisco's documentation site. I do every day. So, but enough babbling for me. I hope this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.